Boxers Trainers Challenge. Okay, so today we were supposed to be on at 2 o'clock, but we fell a little short. But it's okay because I'm here live and in living color, right? And I am ready to do what we all love doing, or at least I do, right? And that's talk about some darn boxing, man. You know what I'm saying? Today is a wonderful thing day for boxing. You know what I'm saying? We got an excellent fight. Um, at around 5 o'clock ish, right? I'm actually thinking that that's what time the preliminary start. I don't think the fight starts in this atmosphere. What I mean by that in this section of the country, right? Until like 8 o'clock. But I'm thinking the preliminary start at 5 o'clock, and they let the record reflect that I will be there, right? I mean, this is going to be an amazing fight today. It's a dang good a night for boxing in the sense that you have two viable opponents, right? That are undefeated, and somebody's O has got to go, tonight, right? And it's in the atmosphere is like brewing, right, for the excitement associated with this particular fight, right? Now, I didn't really come to you to talk about this particular fight, right? I actually came to you to discuss another fight that is happening. Let me see. April 12th, right? That is the fight that is of interest, right? But I couldn't go forward with that fight until I kind of like bring y'all up to speed, in regards to the fight at the preliminary starts at 5. The actual fight, I believe, is at 8 o'clock our time, right? Which is um, the South. It's our time in the South, right? What is that? The Northern Conference? The northern part of the hemisphere? I think it's the North. Northern, Southern, South? So, excuse me. It has to be the southern part of the hemisphere. We in the South, right? But, I wanted to, touch on this particular fight first because, man, it's like, whew, wow. You know what I mean? This is one of those fights that reminds you of back in the days, like when Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran. You know what I mean? The list goes on and on and on, right? We're talking about that caliber of fight. You know what I mean? And it's been a while since they have gave us this type of fight, right? Shout out to Sampin, Sampin Gaming. Shout out to Sampin Gaming. So I'm really excited about this fight today, right? But again, this is not the fight that I came to the table with, so to speak, right? We're gonna talk about that fight, but we're gonna talk about the fight that they have today because everybody in the world is gonna be wanting to see this fight, man. And I'm telling you, look, before we even get started, you know what I'm saying? Area code 870 571 3995. Hey, look, if y'all got the scrotums, right? The scrotums, right? To call and have a subject that y'all want to discuss in regard to boxing, 870 571 3995, right? Be about the business of discussing what you think is in the best interest of boxing by call it. Let's talk about it on the line so you can have your boxing neighbors, right? Hear what you're talking about. See if you know what the majority of us that make this a living or make a living off this, you know what I'm saying, believe it's correct or incorrect, right? The politics of boxing, right? And the only way we're gonna get a chance to know, see if you know what you're talking about in boxing, is you make a phone call. Area code 870 571 3995. Okay, but now look, we're gonna touch on this particular fight first. Let me give a shout out to Asher Hollow, Hollowell. Hollowell, Ashley Hollowell, Joshua Santos. Shout out to them people in the chat, right? Piotri, Summit, Summit. That was pretty good, right? But let's touch on this particular fight today, right? David Benavidez and David Morrell, the two Davids, right? I mean, look, this is at the top of the charts when it comes to the light heavyweight division, right? Both of these cats came up from super middleweight, right? That's what actually um, fight their fight weight, right? When it came into the professional scheme of things, which David Benavidez, you know what I mean, was kind of like he elevated to light heavyweight, right? Once he ran through mostly everybody in the super middleweight division, right? He had completely got halted when Saul Canelo Alvarez refused to give him a fight. Saul Canelo Alvarez literally and unequivocally ducked David Benavidez. So let the record reflect that I said that. I told the truth about David Benavidez getting ducked by Saul Canelo Alvarez. And that's actually it's a shame because there's a lot of boxing fans out there, right, that believe that Saul Canelo Alvarez is going to lead boxing with an outstanding past, with an outstanding legacy, right? And you know what I'm saying? I got a problem I mean, quite naturally, 60-2, Saul Canelo Alvarez is going to have a great legacy to pass on to the next generation, right? Or for history to reassure us one way or the other whether Saul Canelo Alvarez was great as his legacy entails it was, right? Now, we'll have to wait on that one. But as far as I'm concerned, as a pundit, you know what I'm saying, as a person that knows and loves the sport of boxing just as much as anybody else that practices talking about boxing, right? And I said that. And let the record reflect that I said that in the sense that I'll take anybody's challenge on when it comes to debating the fundamentals of boxing and the ins and outs of boxing, right? So I wanna, you know what I'm saying, touch on actually it's a third issue, right? Because I got a kid, 23 years old, right? And all he thinks about, you know what I'm saying? All he thinks about is being the next lightweight or the next super middleweight champion of the world, right? And I'm gonna make this kid a champion, right? I mean, it's already there. I already the seed is planted, right? And I'm watering it as we go, right? I'm watering it, right? And watch and see what I tell you, right? When you hear that the surface is gonna float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, know where that came from. Know who instituted that or reinvigorate that again, right? I am watch this kid. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Okay? Just watch what I say. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make this kid the functional equivalent of a Muhammad Ali. Oh, that old man crazy. Woo, yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say it again. If this kid has the scrotums, I'm gonna make him the functional equivalent of Muhammad Ali. He's gonna be saying float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, because that's what I teach. You feel me? So watch and wait, right? I'm gonna later on as we continue to practice and train and go closer together with this boxing thing, right? I'm gonna start doing some tape on it, right, and share it with y'all, and I'm gonna let y'all make the decision on whether or not that I am the greatest trainer, as I say, and I really think that I'm the greatest trainer ever. I do. I mean, you see me smiling when I say that? Heck no, because Jack Daniels of the Boxers Trainers Channel believes wholeheartedly that he is one of the best, if not the best trainer in boxing. Now, that being said, David Benavidez versus David Morrell. The preliminary start at 5 o'clock today. I believe the main event, which features David Benavidez and David Morrell at 5 o'clock. Now, that's going to be an outstanding bout, right? The kind of fight that could go either way. This is one of those fights where it's a classic 50-50, right? Each one of these kids have a 50-50 opportunity to beat the other one out, right? Because they're both that good. And I say this, the only distinction between the two in reference to the win ratio is David Benavidez because, anybody know? Because David Benavidez has more experience than David Morrell. That is the only exception to this great rule when it comes to the better boxer. is experience. David Benavidez has a record of 29 wins. Excuse me. Let's keep it 100, y'all. Let's keep it 100, y'all. I know dang well. Here we go. David Benavidez has an outstanding record of 28. Excuse me. No, let's take it from the top. He's 28 years old. He's 6'1", 78-inch arm reach. He's a right-hander. He has 29 wins, 24 by knockout, 24 by knockout. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like he coming to the table empty-handed. You know what I'm saying? With no ammunition to take on David Morrell, right? Say, vice versa, right? The only thing again that makes it more compelling and leans more towards David Benavidez is David Benavidez has more experience. 29 wins, 24 by knockout. No losses, never been stopped, no draws. He has maintained belts throughout his career. As the president, he is the interim WBC lightweight champion of the world, right? And he also, before the inception of the light heavyweight division, he was the interim WBC super middleweight champion of the world. I'm just saying, this cat got experience over, in my opinion, David Morrell. David Morrell. Now I will say this. Check this out. David Morrell is 27. David Benavidez is 28. David Morrell is 6'1". David Benavidez is 6'1". David Morrell arm reach is 78.3. David Benavidez is 78. Woo. David Benavidez, switching, is right-hander. David Morrell was right-hander. Now here is the distinction, people. You hear me? David Morrell has 11 wins, 9 by knockout. No losses, never been stopped, no draws. He is the WBA light heavyweight champion of the world. Now this is for the meet and break. What you say? Mark Jubis. I think Benavidez takes it. Okay, now this is a clever cat. This Mark Jubis. I think David Benavidez wins. Takes it, brother. Who else? Absolutely, Joseph Santos. You're right. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna stick with Mark Jarvis, right? He says, I think Benavidez takes it. Now, I have to reiterate this again, right? Because it's very interesting that people in the chat have the opinion that is the functional equivalent of my opinion, right? And it's like it's predicated on the same. It has to be predicated on the same ideas, right? And my idea is that David Benavidez holds the cards when it comes to experience, and experience is what really makes the fighter more compelled to win. But he has more experience in the ring, right? David Morrell has never been on this type of playing field, right? Up under these type of lights, you know what I mean? And all that comes into the psychology of a boxer when he goes into that ring, right? I mean, the clamor associated with all those people out in the audience watching the preview. You know what I'm saying? A whole barrage of different things that we don't think about, right? Comes into the mindset of the boxer. Right, and these things have to be considered when we talk about the win-loss ratio, right? And therefore, in my opinion, in my highly educated opinion, contrary to the fact that y'all might think otherwise, David Benavidez beats out David Morrell because David Benavidez has been in that position before, whereas he can overcome all the psychological things associated with taking out David Morrell. He's been it before. 28 times he's done this. 28 times he came out victorious. David Morrell has been in the ring 11 times, right? The distinction is like 21, excuse me, 20. No, take that back. 19. David Benavidez has been in the ring 19 more times than David Morrell. So, y'all do the math. Let's talk about this fight on the 12th of March. The 12th of March, we have another outstanding fight. You know what I'm saying? This year is going to be a lot of good fights. You know what I'm saying? I did some boxing yesterday. What I mean by that, I watched boxing yesterday, and there was some young cats like one or two fights in the game, right? And I don't really, you know what I'm saying, naturally get excited about these young cats coming up in the game because there is in the house my man D Mexican G. Oh my God, Stephen Fulton fights that. Oh my God, hey, that's a good one, D Mexican G. D Mexican G in the house. How do you, quote unquote, how do you think Stephen Fulton does tonight? Will he recover from his devastating loss to Inoue? Wow, now that is a tough one. But look, let's look at this realistically, and let's just say that since that loss, that Inoue, right, hasn't continued in that same pursuit of greatness by continuing to win, right? I say that to say that Stephen Fulton has got a lot of catching up to do when it comes to catching up with Inoue, right? Because his mindset in that loss is still predicated on that loss, psychologically speaking, based on the fact that he hasn't been in the ring that much as Inoue has, right? And so, in my opinion, he's still suffering from the demise of that loss. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I don't know what his training regimen is like, right? If in the event that Stephen Fulton has gotten back up to speed and fights the type of fight that he's capable of fighting now, then you got to fight the Mexican G. We got a fight on hand. If he gets up to speed where he recognizes his talent, right, and he goes up there and fights Inoue with that expectation in mind, you got to fight the Mexican G. We got to fight. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? I actually. Okay. We go. Hey, that's a tonight. That's in the same card, correct? As Dave Benavidez. Oh, wow. Hey, man. I actually didn't get I didn't do any undercards on this. Oh, wow. I should have did that, man, because this is an excellent fight, man. The Fulton versus Inoue, right? Oh, wow. That's one that got past me, people. You know what I'm saying? But there he is. He always comes to the table with something proper. D Mexican G in the house, y'all. But now, on April the 12th is another good fight, man. And I know David Benavidez likes this hard hitting Stenionis. Imantas Stenionis, right? He fights Jerome Bruce Ennis on April 12th for their belts, man. This is a unification bout. You know what I'm saying? And on this one, right, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This could be just as bad as the 50-50 thing when it comes to the win-loss ratio because I will say this. Stenionis is a late bloomer in the sport. You know what I'm saying? But there's always a but, right? But Stenionis is one of those boxers, right, that has a natural ability to box. Now, I'm quite sure a lot of y'all, saying that's new to y'all, right? But there is the notion that some boxers have a gifted and God given talent to box, right? And I believe that Stanionis falls in that category. You know what I'm saying? Because he adapted. He adapted to man. Stanionis only had 15 wins, right? 15 fights, right? Yeah, 15 fights, right? But in that 15, and I say he's a late bloomer because he's 30 years old, right? He only got 15 fights in, right? But now they all wins, but the fact remains the same is that he has to be considered a late bloomer because of his age and how many fights he's had, right? But that ain't got nothing to do with, his ability because, like I said, I believe that Stanionis is a they had a natural gift to box. You know what I'm saying? I had a natural gift. That's what and I'll say this, I was a late bloomer too. I didn't start boxing until I was like 30, right? But when you take on the sport, you know what I'm saying, especially as a late bloomer, right? You put that much more effort into getting to the top. You know what I'm saying? That's how hard you train, right? So look at Stanionis. Imagine Stanionis, right? And everybody knows that practice and follow boxing, right? That Stanionis is a bad Bama Jammin. Right? So it ain't like this is a walk in the park for Jerome Bruce Ennis, right? Now, look, after Jerome Bruce Ennis, don't care what nobody say, ducked. I'm gonna say it again, ducked. What's that cat's name? We might be related. Brian Norman Jr. After he ducked Brian Norman Jr. Man, look here, man. I was like, damn, he ducked that youngster. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be the baddest cat that come out of Philadelphia, right? Jerome Bruce Ennis, and he ducked Brian Norman Jr. He did duck. But a lot of kids say, "Oh, no, he didn't duck, man." But Brian Norman Jr. Outbidded himself, right? He wanted more money. He wanted to be paid for his services. He had a belt, right? And here's the deal: I don't think that Eddie Hearns wanted that fight to be made. Why? Why didn't Eddie Hearns want that fight made? Anybody know? This is why I think Eddie Hearns didn't want that fight made because he had just signed Jerome Brooks Ennis to as a promoter. He had just signed Jerome Brooks Ennis, and when it came to Jerome Brooks Ennis versus Brian Norman, I believe that Eddie Hearns got a little scared, right, for his fire. You know what I'm saying? That fight was an easy fight to be made in the sense that Eddie Hearns has a habit, right, a propensity to pay a boxer what he's worth, but he didn't do that with Brian Norman, and this was about in regards to the pay ratio, right? Eddie Hearns said one thing, but he didn't deliver on it when it came to the pay ratio. And Brian Norman Sr. said, "No, man, my son gotta have, my son gotta walk away from the table at the end of the fight with $1 million in his pocket, money he's earned. Right? It has nothing to do with the particulars involved and who else getting paid. But my son has to walk away with $1 million. Right? He's a champ, and he is right. And Eddie Hearns used that to dismiss the notion that he wanted that fight made. Eddie Hearns didn't want the fight made, y'all. Just so you know, right? So that's why. Oh, yep. The Mexican G. Shout out to the Mexican G. And he ducked Virgil Ortiz. Yep, that's true. see, I ain't got a problem. Me on the Box Training Channel, right? I'm gonna call it like I see it. I'm gonna call it ducking if it's ducking. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gets spared on the Box Training Channel. You come to this channel, you gonna get the truth, right? Jerome Bruce Ennis ducked Virgil Ortiz, and he ducked Brian Norman Jr. Right? They good ducks because he could have got his butt licked with either one of them boxes. To tell the truth, you know what I'm saying. So when you get that high on the hog and boxing, right? Actually, you know what I'm saying? For dominant boxers like Jerome Bruce Ennis is allegedly is, you don't duck people, man. You don't duck people. You know what I'm saying? You take the smoke. You take the smoke. That's what the sport is about, right? Who can handle the smoke? You know what I'm saying? You can't handle the smoke. Get out the game. Get out the hey, that goes for Javante Tate Davis. That goes for Shakur. The list is long, people, when it comes to ducks, right? And that type of mindset when it comes to the sport that I love from the bottom of my heart, right? I don't like that. You know what I mean? I don't like that. You cats want millions and millions of dollars to put on a bout, right? But you find the inclination that this cat, hey, when you duck, you have to consider this, right? This cat might be tougher than me, so I'm gonna perpetrate a fraud and perpetrate a lie to avoid boxing, right? That ain't boxing, man. That's punk stuff, right? The legitimate boxer, the legitimate contender, don't duck nobody, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I'm gonna say about. You can call it. You can say what you want to about who I'm about to mention. That's one thing I'll say about Devin the Dream Haney. Devin the Dream Haney come out the door talking about he want all the smoke, right? Devin the Dream Haney called out mostly everybody in the 135-pound edition, right? You know what I'm saying? That type of behavior is what boxing is really all about. You know what I'm saying? That's boxing. You know, that ain't faking and shaking. That's boxing, man. Yeah, that's what I got to get about it because the fight, there's a couple more fights before this fight come on, but I'm definitely gonna get that. I didn't know that. Shout out to Mexican G that Fulton and Nue, right? Anyway, damn. But people, I gotta close it up. Yeah, right. Mexican G, I don't know why you ain't got no podcast. Mexican G is basically saying he got all the respect in the world for Devin Haney because Devin Haney went overseas to whoop on some butts to get them belts. You know what I'm saying? That's what champions do. They risk the loss to get the greatness up under their name. That being said, hit that subscription button, hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about who wins between David Morrell and David Benavidez. And share the video with your friends and relatives. Shout out to the Mexican G. Gotta go, bud. Peace out.